Hey everyone, Mr. Anderson here. So this is lesson number 1 with our instruments. Before you do this lesson, it's really important that first you have watched the other videos that I have for this week that show you the fingerings for your instrument. This lesson is for everybody, but I'm not going to show you the fingerings for your instrument. You have to know what the fingerings are, and the way you're going to learn it is by watching that video and also by looking at the Our First Note page, Our First Notes page, which is linked in this assignment. It's also in your virtual music folder that I talked about in the last lesson. The music that I'm going to show you on the page today is the trumpet book. I can't show everyone's book at once. You need to realize that different instruments play different notes. So you might see that the trumpets play a G, an F, and an E on this page, but your instrument might play an F, an E flat, or a D. And even if you have the same letters as another instrument, sometimes your notes might be on the staff in a different line or space because of something called clefs, which they're not teaching us in the book yet, but I've talked about clefs before in the video that I shared with you about learning the note names. All right, now let's start with line number 1, the first note. You guys have been practicing making that first sound for about a week. Now I've got to practice making particular notes. I hope you tried making those sounds while you were playing along with the last video as well, the one with the Our First Notes page. The first note for the trumpets and for the clarinets is called G. For the tuba, trombone, and flutes, it's called F. For all of us, it's going to sound the same. It's going to sound like this. Or if you play trombone or tuba, but they're all going to sound like what we call a concert F. If I play it on the trumpet, it sounds like this. So what I want you to practice doing right now is taking a breath for 4 counts and then playing that sound for as long as I ask you to hold it until I ask you to stop. And then we'll stop together. We're going to breathe in again, and we're going to play another long sound. Now, there are times when I'm going to ask you to play a sound that lasts a specific number of beats. Right now, I'm just asking you to take a breath and hold a note that lasts a long time. And you'll know by watching my hand when it's time to start or stop. As you're playing, compare yourself to the sound my trumpet is making and ask yourself, does it match? Is it the same thing? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and. Breathe in, 2, 3. Breathe in. One more time, breathe in. All right, now for a first go there, I just had you play it for a while. We kept repeating it over and over again. In our books in line 1, they only show 2 notes, right? Note, and then they have the word rest, and then another long note and the word rest. I was having you play that again and again and again. It's repetition that's going to make us better at this. If your sound didn't sound right the first time you played the note, you had many chances to get it right. I'm going to ask you to do it again. It's important that when you breathe, your inhalation is relaxed and you let your body expand out and down. You don't want your shoulders to get tense. You want to be able to contain as much air as you can so you have the fuel to hold that note for a long time. Try it again. Make sure it's a relaxed breath in and that you can hold that note for as long as I can. Here we go. Line 1 again, and we're just going to keep on repeating the line. Note, rest, note, rest, note, rest. Here we go. Breathe in. Stop, breathe in, and breathe in. Breathe in. and stop. Good. Now, if the note that you're playing matches the sound I'm making, you're in good shape. And for the clarinets, if you're pushing down the right fingering, which for you is no fingers at all, you're probably going to be playing the right note no matter what, unless you're accidentally blowing too hard and getting a really high squeak. If you're playing flute, trumpet, trombone, or tuba, it's possible you're accidentally playing too low. So on trumpet, trombone, and tuba, speed the air up, small opening your lips, listen and make sure that you're playing the same sound that I am on my instrument. If you play the flute, sometimes you'll get a low F instead of a high F, and to get the high F to pop out, push your chin out a little bit and aim that air a little bit higher, like up at the tip of your nose, and a high sound will come out instead of the low sound. Let's look at line 2. Now, line 2 uses the same note. For the trumpets here, it's a G. If for other instruments, it might be an F. I know it's the same note as above because, look, this G is on the second line of the staff, and this G is also on the second line of the staff. It might be on a different line or space for your instrument. It might be a different letter, but you'll notice that no matter what instrument you play, line 1 and line 2 have the same note. Now on this one, it's not just a long sound. We have notes that last specifically one beat. These are called quarter notes. So we're going to keep a steady pulse, and we're going to have to play 4 sounds, 1 on each beat, and then 4 beats of rest. The whole time you're playing, you want to make sure you're tapping your foot. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and down, up, 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 down, up. Your foot is always tapping to that steady beat, and you're going to play a sound each time your foot hits the ground. Ta, 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 wait, 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 wait. Ta, 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 wait, 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 and we can keep repeating that one over and over again as well. Now you notice that just now I used the sound ta when I was demonstrating it. When you play on your instrument, unless you play the drums, you want every sound you make to start with a T sound. Your tongue touches the top of your mouth, just like when you're saying, it is time for turkeys who wear tutus to eat tacos on Tuesday. Any word that starts with the letter T is without an H after it. Any word that starts with that T sound is a good bet here for the way you should form your tongue when you're playing these notes. If you play the clarinet, you want to make sure that your tongue is touching the tip of the reed for each sound. Ta, 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 ta. For this one, I'm going to play the piano. I want you to play 4 notes and then rest, 4 notes and then rest, and your foot is tapping all the time. It's tapping when you're playing, it's tapping when you're resting. There's the note, it's our F or it's our G, depending on the instrument. Ready, here we go. And 1, 2, ready, go. Ta, 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 rest. 2, 3, 4. 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 Ta, 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 and stop right there. The important thing we need to make sure we're practicing is that we're tapping our foot while we play, and we're using our tongue to start each note. If you aren't using your tongue, you probably sound like you're an owl saying who, 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 who. And the beginnings of your notes are sounding vague and hard to decipher. Make sure that you're feeling your foot hit the ground, you're feeling your tongue touch the roof of your mouth. If we were in an actual class right now, I'd have you play line 2 again. What I'd like you to do now is rewind and listen to line 2 again. Play along with line 2 again, making sure that it's better this time than the time before, that you're feeling the steady beat with the piano and with your foot, and you're using your tongue to start each of the notes. If you've already done it more than once, let's move on to line 3. All right, line 3 is a different note. So we were playing a G on the trumpet, and now we're playing an F. Many of you were playing an F before, and now you're playing an E flat. Now, if you need a refresher on what the fingering is, no matter what instrument you play, right here, there'll be a diagram that shows you the fingering that you need to use. You could also look at the Our First Notes page that I shared with you in your virtual music folder. Let's practice playing this long sound together. I can see that my G was on this line of the staff, and the F is on the space below that. So I know that this note, whether it's an F or an E flat, is going to be lower than the note that we played in line 2. It should sound like this. I'll play it in trombone. Practice playing with me. We'll breathe in, hold a long tone. We'll breathe in again and hold a long tone. And breathe. 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 Now again, if you play trumpet or trombone or tuba, it's possible you'll push down the right fingering or use the right slide position, but get a note that's too low. There's different notes the trombone can play and the trumpet can play with the same fingering. Be careful that you're making the high sound that I just played. If your instrument sounds really super low, you need to make sure that your lips are firm and that the airstream is fast and intense so that you don't get that low sound. Let's look at line 4. 2 is a team. Now, in line 4, we have 2 different notes. We have the F for the trumpets, the F and the G. So the note that I learned in line 3 and the note that I learned in line 1. So it might be an F and a G for the trumpets. It might be an E flat and an F for the flutes. Your instrument might be different. Make sure that you're reading what notes it says here. On this page, if you're unsure, of course, you can always look at the letter that's printed in the middle of the note. I know these are Fs because they say they're Fs. I know these are Gs because they say they're Gs. More importantly, I know these are Fs because they're in the bottom space of the staff. And I know these are Gs because they're on the second line of the staff. Just like we had to do up on line 2, we're keeping a steady beat with our foot. We're playing 4 the first note, we rest for 4 counts, and then we're playing 4 the second note, and then we rest for 4 counts, and then we're going to go back and we're going to do it again. So it'll be over and over and over again between that F and that G, or that E flat and that F, all depending on your instrument. Here we go. Ready, and 1, 2, 3, play. Rest, 2, 3, 4. Rest, 2, 3, 4. Rest, 2, 3, 4. Rest, 2, 3, 4. Rest. Rest, 2, 3, 4. And stop. Now again, you can play this as many times as you need to. The key to listen for is that your E flat and your F sound like different notes, or your F and your G sound like different notes, and that the note that you have in this measure is higher than the note that you have in that measure there. make sure you're using your tongue to start the note each time. All right, let's look at line number 5. Line number 5 is another new note. I showed you how to play this note in the other video. In case you need a reminder, the fingering for your instrument is going to be here. The note is called E for the trumpets and for the clarinets, and it's called D for flute and for bells and for trombone and for tuba. So again, let's play this one. It is one step lower than the other notes that we learned in the page, taking in a full breath of air and holding that note for a good long time. I'll play on clarinet this time. Here we go. Breathe. 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 And stop. Last line for this lesson. Let's do line number 6. Now, line number 6, our fingers have to do a lot of moving around, because we'll see if I look at the trumpet page that the notes are E, 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 E. That's 5 E's, and I'm tapping my foot each time. 3 beats of rest, and then E, E, F, F, G. When we did line 4, we had time during the rest to move our fingers. Here, we're going to need to move our fingers without having a rest in between. This can be a tricky thing for some instruments to do the first time through. Let's give it a go, and I'm going to give you some hints after this. Here we go. Line number 6. I'm going to play it for you on the trumpet. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, again. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. And stop right there. Now, if you're having trouble playing line 6, don't stress. I'm doing this whole video in like 10 minutes, but honestly, this is something that I would spend a week teaching in an in-person class. So I encourage you to go through this video in small chunks, a day at a time. And then as you go through the week, you'll find that it gets easier and easier and easier to go on to the next step. In order to practice line 6, I would practice just getting used to where my fingers have to go to move from one note to the next. If I play clarinet, I'd be thinking, okay, I've got to play an E, my pointer finger moves to play an F, and then my thumb moves to play a G. E, my pointer finger moves, and then my thumb moves. So I just practice making those switches. If I play trumpet, E, my middle finger moves to go to F, my pointer finger moves to go to G. Tubas are the same fingerings, but the note names are different. If I play flute, I practice going from D to E flat. So D, and then E flat. And then the tricky one is going to F, where my pointer finger up here goes down, and these two fingers go up. E flat, F. E flat, F. Practice making that switch. And then practice saying it. D, D, E flat, F. And get used to saying it, and then try playing it. There we go. Well, that F didn't work very well for me. So you don't have to play the whole song. You can find the part that's hard for you. If your fingers can't go from E flat to F, practice switching from E flat to F so that you know which fingers need to switch to make it happen. Right. Now, hopefully each day when you watch this video, it gets a little bit easier. And then at the end of the week, you can send me a recording of yourself playing line 6 and you can say, look, I did it. Or you could say, look, here's what me trying to do it, but I'm having trouble. Can you help me do better? My job is always to help you do better. And I promise that I'll do my best to give you comments that are going to help you do better the next time you play something. That's it for this lesson, guys. Thanks for stopping by.